So, this is what we got. I just spat all over my iPad. That's what I get for doing my accents. Spit all over the place. Do they give you an idea as to what they want it to look like, or do they just let you go as you want to? It depends. I have a lot of different clients that know me for what I do. I have a lot of artwork that's on the internet, on Facebook at least. And so a lot of people will go and look at my artwork, and then they'll come to me and they'll usually say something like, I want you to draw me as you drew this other person. And then there's a lot of other people, and I do get this quite often. I'll have people say, I want this, this, and this, and I leave everything else in your hands. So let me see if I can explain. I just finished this piece yesterday. And this is not the finish. I took it over into Illustrator, and I finished it in Illustrator. This guy is known as Dusty Air. Okay, he's a quadcopter pilot like I am. And he says, the only thing I want is I want white camo, digital camo. I want a black shirt, and I want some kind of dust storm. And so I created this, and I sent him a concept of it, and I said, what do you think about this? And he says, I love it, and we're done. So I was able to ink that up and call that a day. This one right here, he says, I want to be drawn next to my motorcycle, and I want Linux everywhere on this thing. And I said, okay. And I was realizing as I'm drawing him that it just doesn't look very interesting for him to be standing next to his motorcycle. So I found a reference of a guy riding a motorcycle, and it's literally jumping into the air. And I said, so I started doing this sketch, and about here, I sent him a reference, and I said, how do you feel about this? And he goes, I love it. So I said, okay, we're going to go from there. Now, I sent it to him with a helmet flying off of him into the background. And, of course, if you are in the industry of racing motorcycles, it's not going to be a good thing that your helmet's falling off. So he goes, well, why not give me goggles to exaggerate the idea that this is just an exaggerated pose? And I said, absolutely, because this is also a quadcopter pilot. So there is mainly, for me, because I've been doing this for a while, people... And I'm not bragging. I'm telling you what will happen in the future if you do this for a long time. But a lot of people come to me and say, we've seen your work. We trust you on what you think is best. You're going to make it the most dynamic. I just want these couple things. And you figure out how you want that to happen, if that makes sense. And then I go through and I create it and I send them concepts along the way. And I only send them concepts when I like what I'm creating. When I don't like what I'm creating, I don't send concepts. It depends on the scenario. And honestly, I send less concepts when they ask me, how's this whole proofing process work? You know, when they ask me, how's the process work? You know, like, how do I see what you're doing to me? That's when I realize this person's probably going to be a bit more picky. And a little bit too invested in what the final created piece is. Where I want to create something that they're going to love, and it's going to mean that they have to be loose. They have to trust me to create something special. And not everyone's willing to do that. Some people hire me because I'm a good artist and they want me to do my concept of them. And then some people are just hiring any artist they can get their hands on to complete their process for them. This is a piece I've been working on for a little while, that the person has told me he wants the creature from the Black Lagoon, if you've ever seen that movie. And I can do the time lapse for you here on this as well if you want. And basically I said, okay, well, do you know what you want? And it was the same kind of idea. You come up with your own theory and, you know, just let me see what you got. So I started drawing the creature from the Black Lagoon, and I drew the whole body out and everything, and I just was not liking it at all. And then I got to this point. And so I drew my concept of it as I wanted, sent it over to him, and I said, here's what I'm planning to do. I'm planning on putting a damsel in distress in the forefront, full body, but I want to have him kind of in the background, and I want this to be a very almost tattoo, new school? Is it new school? Yeah, new school tattoo kind of style, lots of vector feeling and structure and lots of shine. I want lots of color and I just want this to pop. And he got to look at it and he goes, I love it, keep going. So you're going to have many different kinds of clients. You're going to have really picky clients who know exactly what they want, and when they know exactly what they want, they're dangerous, because those are clients you should charge more for, because they're going to be incredibly picky on their final result. And then there's the other people who are going, please just draw me. I want to be drawn by you. I don't care what you draw for me, just draw me and you. I want your name on this product. And when that happens, that's where you get to feel really good. And that's the best artwork you can make. That's the stuff where you're inspired to give them something extra special because they came to you and they said, do it in your style because I want you. I don't want any other artist. I want you. I'm willing to pay however much you are worth. And that's where it feels really good. I think it's always best to let the artist and creator be able to flow with it. Exactly. And if you start putting rules and regulations in front of the artist and say, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this, it starts to feel like a job and not a gift. And so that's where, when it comes down to it, I honestly start charging the client more, because I realize that client is going to be someone more difficult to deal with. And in the long term, if I charge them the price that I would charge a normal person, I'm not going to make enough money to make up for the amount of time that I know I'm going to spend on their artwork. That's why I charge more for logos instantly. I know that logos may actually be quicker to draw than a caricature. My caricatures can take up to a week to draw. Depends on how inspired I am. My logos, I'm able to maybe able to create them in a half an hour to 45 minutes. I don't know. It depends on how elaborate the person wants that artwork to be. But if that person's picky and they have an idea in their head of exactly what they want, then that could mean revisions. That could mean complete redos. That could mean so many different things. So it's very important to kind of rewind and go, okay, in the long term of how long I'm going to be dealing with this client, how much should I charge for the amount of pickiness that they seem to have? And so it's a fine line. And you will have to, if you're starting off as an artist and you're wanting to be in the art industry, you're going to have to start by charging very, very little and inspiring people to get you. And then as people get you, then you can raise your prices. As people start sharing the artwork with their friends and with their families, and then those friends and families come and get in touch with you, and social networking does what it does best. That's what you can expect. And don't expect that you're going to have people going, I want to be drawn by you, because that's something that's earned over years of time and lots of sacrifice on your part, because when you're charging $20, $30 for something that's worth $300 because you're a no-name, you have to start somewhere. My thing is, don't start at $5.